I'm going to...
He's choking you. Good.
And then I'm going to hit him.
Yes.
And then I'm going to elbow him. And then I'm going to hit him on the back of the head.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Mom's View. We've got the whole crew and my very, very, very good friend, Jennifer Caseta, who is joining us today.
Hello.
She is amazing and gorgeous, but she is also empowering women all over the world by teaching them self-defense. She's a nutritionist and an author of Hear Me Roar, which is a great book that just goes further into empowering not only women for their mind, body, soul, and just life and how to take charge and be tough, fat-ass chicks, right?
That pretty much sums it up.
Yeah. Can you just explain like what inspired your career and how it all got started?
I had an incident where I was grabbed on the street one night, walking home to my apartment at 3 a.m., decided to check my voicemail because that's a good idea.
It's like a common thing that I'm sure a lot of women don't think about, though. Like, oh, I need to text or post this really awesome selfie right now.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. Right? It's not something you want to do at 3 o'clock in the morning, you know, on a street, on a dark street. A guy came up from behind me and was able to get close enough, because I wasn't paying attention, came up my dress and grabbed me. I was like, yeah! So took a half a second to realize what just happened, but because of the martial arts training, I like to say I released my inner she-beast and kind of went psycho on the guy and started like screaming, cursing, and I just remember this moment in time where I saw his face and he was just like, oh,
Wrong girl.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So later on, you know, for the next few days, I was like, wow, that could have been really worse.
Yeah.
And then I started to look at the statistics, and I don't know if you guys are familiar with them, but 1 in 5 women in the U.S. will be the victim of a sexual assault. Crazy.
Wow, yeah.
And 1 in 4 college-age women, so it's even worse if you're younger.
Right.
So that's when I started to really take my martial arts training even more seriously. And then years later, women started to ask me, hey, can I learn self-defense from you? I don't necessarily want to go to the martial arts studio and do the whole like bowing thing, and but you know, I want to learn some basics. So that's when I put together stilettos and self-defense. That's how it started. And then I moved out here years later and did some videos, and have been teaching this ever since. And then recently I wrote this book, co-authored with my friend Lindsay Smith, and it's called Hear Me Roar, How to Defend Your Mind, Body, and Heart Against People Who Suck.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That
thanks.
deserves some claps.
Thank you.
I'm excited to read it.
Thank you. Oh, well, I have copies for you guys.
Yeah.
We like guests with gifts.
Speaking of, do you want to take one and pass them down?
And I'm quoted in this book, hey.
Yeah.
And they're
I gotta
darling.
read this before I even get home.
Hear me roar.
Yeah.
I'm like, this
Where's
is
my
so
quote?
cute.
Nice.
Shaytards Kiade says, hear me roar will make you feel like a rock star ready to kick ass and take on the world. Do yourself a favor and grab a copy immediately. And I listen to everything this woman says.
Get one.
So do I.
Get it, girl.
Yeah, this is really awesome. And something that Jen's been doing a lot lately, which I briefly mentioned, is she's been going to college campuses and teaching anybody, but I mean a majority of young women who are on college campuses, how to defend themselves in sticky situations. And I know you guys have young daughters, and I think it's so important as women and mothers of anybody, but especially daughters, to teach them how to be tough and strong. I think also something that you teach is not more than just the moves, is the confidence and a few little tips, because I think that if you walk around the streets anywhere and you are confident and you are paying attention and you've got your keys in your hand, or you know, whatever Jen teaches, I know all about what Jen teaches, and you're not on your phone, an attacker is not going to pick you because you are not a weak victim. And I think that that is such an important thing that you teach. The moves are so important, but that is crucial too. And you have so many good, great tips. We all get to learn them in a few.
Well, I feel like I really need to listen, because when I'm scared, I want to go to my phone and be like, I am not here. You know, like a little kid who's like, I can't see you, so you can't see me. It's not happening.
That's actually one of the opposite things that I teach.
Right. I'm like, okay.
I do teach.
No, I'll be like,
yeah, make eye
See you.
contact. We communicate so much with our bodies. We give these nonverbal cues with our bodies. So one of the massive tips that I give is fake it till you make it. So fake confidence with your body language, right? If you're walking to your car late at night or in your a parking lot or a parking garage, shoulders back, head up high, walk with purpose, right? Like walk like a New Yorker, and make eye contact with anyone around you. And then be aware of your surroundings. Make sure you're checking around your car, inside your car, and everywhere before you get in there. So
I do feel different, and I don't know if you guys, when you're with your kids. When I'm with my kids, I'm like, just try to mess with me. You know? There was this creepy guy walking around, and I was like staring him down. I'm like, don't you come near me. Do you feel different when you're with your kids?
To be by yourself, but when you have your kids, it's like the mama bear comes out and it's like, bring it on. Not really, but like, it's not a challenge, but
But if I have to, I'll rip your head off.
my bear claws.
Well, I noticed such a difference when, like, I've always felt tough, you know, because I'm friends with Jenn, and also, you know, just my brother being, like, just beating me up from a young age. Like, I know how to throw a punch. Like, I've always felt confident in my, like, strength. Adding a little baby into the mix, I felt so much more vulnerable, and I hate that. Like, because I want to protect him and be even stronger. But there's been times I've been like wheeling him around, and there have been 2 really creepy incidents happen to me with him that have, I don't know, I feel like they've never happened to me before, and I'm like, oh my God, now I care way more about this life than my own, you know? So I want to be like extra ready to like hurt, kill, murder, like don't you mess with my baby.
that brings me to another tip. This is a personal alarm. Made by Sabre. It's basically like a house alarm for your body.
Okay, fair.
And you just rip it off, and it would sound up to 300 feet, and that way you could deter an attacker from doing something, and also raise awareness if there's people around that can come help you. So that's one tip. They also make pepper sprays, and again, that, you know, is something you may want or
I have
not.
a question. I heard that pepper spray is something they're getting away from because like attackers have learned to like use it against you. Is that just a rumor, or is that like still true?
I would say that's a rumor.
Okay.
Yeah, they make actually a gel now, because some people's thing was like with the spray, it, you know, it feels like it can go anywhere, but the gel is like,
Then you're like, oh no.
yeah.
Neither one of us can see.
But now it's a gel, like.
Right, so it goes direct, and it doesn't spray everywhere. So if you do have babies around, that might be a safer option for you.
I got like wafted by pepper spray once.
Did you?
It was awful. I was in San Francisco, and it was late at night, and somebody got sprayed. And then I swear the wind blew right when they sprayed, and I was like,
Oh my God.
Terrible.
It's awful.
yeah, it was awful. So what age do you think anybody should start learning self-defense?
I say the earlier the better.
Okay.
Boys, girls, everybody. Martial arts is really great for young kids, I think, because they learn self-confidence, and especially if you have a great teacher, like I've seen kids grow through the system and become like these amazing leaders.
We had our kids in a class here, and one of the things I respected is they didn't teach that like this is something you use all the time. It was like a disciplinary thing, and knowing when's the appropriate time to use self-defense and being like in control. Because I think some parents are like, then it just gives kids an excuse to be violent and to fight other kids.
Oh, no,
But I
yeah.
think they're very well mastered about teaching the appropriate times, right?
Absolutely. Martial arts is about, it's more than just self-defense. It's a whole like lifestyle.
Yeah. Right.
But to use it would only be to defend yourself or someone else that was maybe getting bullied or picked on or something like that.
So when you're teaching on college campuses and the women are coming to you, what is something they say they want to learn? Like, are they feeling unsafe walking around? Is that the vibe you're getting from the young girls? Like, are people feeling unsafe right now?
I think right now, if you haven't noticed, in the news, there's just so much going on about sexual assault on college campuses. So yeah, the girls, I think, just want to feel more empowered. One thing that I think that they don't realize that they should learn when I teach is, if that makes sense, is social media safety. One of the biggest tips that I use is never give your location in real time.
Absolutely.
So do you guys practice that safety?
I only check in once I've already left.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Yeah.
I watched a Criminal Minds about that, and I was like, whoa,
Good.
never tell.
I think if I do share, it's like in a big place. So like I'm at my house by myself, it's dark.
Here's my address.
Here's my address.
I'm at this coffee shop all alone right now.
Yeah, even on Instagram, I realized when you create your location, and even if it's like, I used to put Jenn's kitchen, and then I realized there's a map with Jenn's kitchen.
Well, you know what?
I did make that mistake
I don't
once.
let any of my apps have access
Yeah.
to
Your
my
location.
location. I was like, don't nobody need to know where I'm going. Google Maps is the only thing that has, and that's because I'm trying to figure out where I'm going. But I was like, nobody needs to know where I ate.
Yeah.
Why? No.
Yeah, I think the only time we've done that is like when we're at Disneyland and we're like, okay, people come say hi to us. We're right here. But yeah, we're always really trying to be cautious about showing where we are. And you can't really hide everything. That's why I think it's so important that you learn self-defense. Like I was just telling Jenn, like I was driving down from our house the other day and I was like, I need to learn self-defense. Like I just had this like thing like I've always talked about learning it, but I've never actually gone through. And then when you think about your kids and keeping them safe, and I feel like you can't really shield yourself from everything, but you can take all the precautions, all the steps to ensure that you are confident and that you know what you're doing and that you can make the best effort possible if anything were to ever happen.
I learned self-defense in high school. Freshman year, it was like mandatory. I'll never forget it.
Wow,
I think
that's awesome.
Miss Vincent taught it, and it was, Kia, back off. What do you want? Remember that?
Is anyone gonna message her?
No, it was Kia. You had to say, Kia, back off. What do you want?
Kia.
That's like you said in karate. Kia.
That should be a graphic tee. Kia, back off. What do you want?
The police at UK, they taught a free course that me and one of my sisters took. It was great. And they attacked us at the end individually. What was great was they were like, and you don't have to wait to be attacked. If you feel unsafe, go at them. I was like, well, you shouldn't have told me that.
Yeah, just be like, bring it on. Like,
You shouldn't have told me that. It was really empowering because there were certain things that I was just like, oh, I would have never thought about that. And getting in your body second nature so you're not in such a flight mode, but you're just like, okay, I can strategically handle this and then, you know, run to safety if I need to.
I think that's the key is empowering because I feel like for the longest time I felt like, oh, I don't want to take that because I don't want to take a self-defense course because it makes you feel like you're in that situation and it's scary. But I think having that empowerment is what's most important. Like it's like insurance, you get it, so hopefully you don't have to use it, but if you have to use it, it's really good that it's there.
When I learned you weren't supposed to yell help, you were supposed to yell fire. Because that scared the attacker more, because then he's like, whoa, there's a fire.
I think the reason why is because if other people hear help, sometimes they're like, oh, I don't want to get involved.
Oh, right.
Like it might be a domestic dispute or something, and which people should help anyway, but if you hear fire, then you're more likely to call the police or fire department and get help. I've heard so many stories personally that women have told me that they were being attacked outside of their apartment and yelled help and saw like the neighbor's light go on and nothing happened.
oh my gosh.
Right, which brings me to one more thing that I think we take for granted is calling 911, which is obviously a great help, right? But I think we rely on it a little as like false safety.
Yeah.
If you're in the moment of an attack, and even if you were able to call 911, it could take 15 minutes for someone to get to you.
That happened to Katie
Yeah,
and
that
I.
happened to us.
Really?
And not only
I was
that,
cold twice.
I was there before
yeah, they're
911 was there.
transferred. Just a guy
like-
came to our house and kept banging on the door and ringing the doorbell, and Casey wasn't
He was
home.
trying to get in.
And then he started wiggling the doorknob.
Yeah.
And I was home with the kids. I ran back to Carly's, and I couldn't even use my phone
Can you
because
just
I was
imagine
so
Kaylee
scared.
and I trying to be
I
sane?
couldn't remember how
We
to
were like-
turn it on.
Right.
So then we called
We were
911.
just staring at each other crying, and I was journaling, and so I had my pen. I'm like, what are we gonna do?
We had no weapons. We had nothing.
I was journaling and being like all thoughtful, and Kaylee comes in. I'm like, who just died? Because she was like crying, and the kids were crying, and it was just like you get so panicked that you're just like. And so we're trying to like make a plan, like if he comes in here, we're trying to tell the kids like hide in the shower, and then we're gonna get him, and then you run out, and.
I think you need to be prepared no matter where you are, but in your own home, you would think you're safe there, right? So obviously alarms are great, and not everyone can afford like the fancy home alarm stuff, but they do make just like stick-on little alarms, like window alarms and door alarms. The company I mentioned before, Sabre, makes those things that are sold in Target for like $10 to $20. So that's a little thing you can do. Obviously knowing self-defense and having like little weapons, like improvised weapons hidden around the house might be a good idea. So like letter openers,
Scissors.
Makes you feel like Charlie's Angels, like taping not a gun, but like paper clip underneath, like almost MacGyver.
Yeah. Another like little tip would be to have a secret code text. So with you guys, maybe it's with your husbands. For people at home not married, maybe your best friend or roommate, someone that knows your habits. If you ever were in a horrible situation where an attacker has come into your home or kidnapped you, in any way, you can send like a text that's like one word, like pineapple or whatever, but it means like help, I'm in trouble.
Right.
So someone else knows that you need help.
Safety word. That's a great idea.
Safety word.
And I think a lot of people also, talking just about empowering yourself and women, don't know that they could be in an uncomfortable situation with their boyfriends or their husbands. And a lot of times, that's where a lot of sexual assault can happen, right?
Oh my God. Shahrzad was saying, I'm going to these college campuses and talking to a lot of sorority women or just women on campus, and they'll come to me after and tell me stories. And I am blown away at what I'm learning is going on. Domestic violence, you think like it's older married couples and stuff. Wrong. This is going on like young kids. A lot of times you actually know your attacker. So it's not just like a random home invasion.
But that's to the point of, like, when I was taking the class, the police officers were like, do not go home practicing with your boyfriend.
Exactly. Right.
Because these are, not to say that everybody's boyfriend was a jerk, but this is the person that you might have to defend yourself from, and you don't want them knowing every single move you're going to make to get away from them. And I was like, you're right. You are right.
A lot of us will see some of these warning signals in men and be like, oh no, and like dust it under the rug. But, guys that make like misogynistic jokes all the time or insulting you or too controlling or too jealous.
As a woman, being willing to see the red flags, make a stand, and then not repeat it.
Yes, and sometimes you need your girlfriends to coach you through that a little bit. So again, I also empower the other, all the girls to look out for their girlfriends too. We just need more of that kind of girl power and community going on.
Right, because you would hate to be the one who didn't say something and then that friend get hurt.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, I could see that and I didn't say anything because I was too nervous.
That would be awful. Well, I know you guys are excited about this part, especially you, Angel.
Oh, watch out.
The moment we've all been waiting for, learning how to defend ourselves with a Jennifer Caseta. Stay tuned. As promised, Jennifer, 3rd degree black belt in martial arts, is here to kind of walk us through how to protect ourselves against an attacker. And we have this nice gentleman who's volunteered to be the attacker. So Roland, you're probably not gonna be happy about that decision in a couple minutes, but anyway, Jen, walk us through a typical scenario.
Okay, great. So first thing you wanna know is the 3 most effective targets on a man. So eyes, throat, and last but not least, groin. Eyes are going to be best attacked with your fingers, right? Either poked, jabbed with your thumb, or even a key, bang, like that. Throat, which will send his head going back. Throat comes next. You can punch to the trachea, that'll disrupt the breathing, or chop to the side of the neck, and that disrupts the blood flow to the brain. And last but not least, like I said, we have the groin, and just from the knee, boom, is gonna go right into the groin like that. If you have a really tall attacker, that's a great move because it actually brings him down to your size, okay? So we're gonna go through a scenario here. If you were being grabbed, choked, pushed, again, it's not like a guy's gonna come up and just put his arms around your neck, but he's either gonna be grabbing you, pushing you somewhere, or pulling you in a direction. Either way, you're gonna base out and drop your chin to your chest. So those 2 moves are really important, and the reason why is because if you base out, what I'm doing is pulling him off his center of balance, and I'm also dropping my center of gravity so I don't fall over. And when I drop to my chin to my chest like this, it opens up my trachea so I have a few more seconds to breathe. Okay, so let's do that one more time. So come on in.
You're doing a great job.
Boom. Next, I have to attack and find my target. So what's closest?
Eyes.
Eyes. Bang. That sends his head back. Boom. Then I can punch the
Trachea.
throat. Good. And last but not least,
Get them balls.
to the groin. Boom. Over and over and over until you can safely get away. So, Shahrzad, would you like to try that?
Yeah, and then after that, you run, right?
Like a little bit.
Run as fast as you can.
Okay.
Call 911. Get to safety.
Okay.
Okay.
Perfect. I'm
Should
not.
you be yelling things? I guess that's a lot going on.
Screaming. Yes,
Okay, you're
screaming.
just screaming.
Cursing, whatever's coming out of your mouth, like a she-beast.
Kia, back up! What do you want? Like, I'm out.
So obviously this situation is you've already practiced your ABCs of self-defense, which is awareness, right? You're not on your cell phones, you're not texting. You've looked for your boundaries, your spatial awareness, you've seen that no one's around, and C, you've been communicating with your body very strong. But sometimes you're in the wrong place at the wrong time and something like this happens, right? Go for it. Yeah, like you mean it. Good. Face out, chin down. Boom. And now eyes, throat, groin. Get it. Nice work. So obviously real life is not choreographed, but I just hope that you can remember a couple of these simple moves. So if you are, say, being grabbed from behind, he's putting a nice choke on me here. What you want to do is take your chin into the crook of his elbow and press down. Boom. If you do happen to have your cell phone out, which I hope you're not because you're paying attention at all times, you can use it as a weapon. So I can punch or take my cell phone, bang, and punch right in the groin, and then, boom, right into his eyeball. That'll send his head going back, loosen up the choke, and then I can come in with an elbow across the face. If that didn't get him down, a couple knees to the groin will. Right. And then again, run to safety.
Yeah.
Okay, so who wants to try that?
Kayli, I vote Kayli.
I get voted.
Hey, at least you're not gonna hit
So you can use my phone.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're not paying
I'm
attention,
really tall.
you're on your cell phone, attacker comes from behind.
Okay, I
What are you
forgot.
gonna do?
I'm going to.
He's choking you. Good.
And then I'm gonna hit him,
Yes.
and then I'm gonna elbow him.
Or phone in the eyes.
Phone in the eye, and then elbow him.
Good. Turn
And then I'm
into
gonna
him.
turn. And
With
then
an
I'm
elbow?
gonna knee him.
Yeah. Keep going.
Twice. And then I'm gonna hit him on the back of the head.
Kayli's gonna say you're rude.
Kick him on the ground.
If you could just remember that you have weapons on your body, right? And they are elbows, which I showed you, knees, fingers, or you have improvised weapons, which would be your keys, cell phone, or whatever's handy at the moment.
Jewelry.
And then you have to take those items and attack. You're now the attacker, right? So you're no longer a victim, but now you become the attacker. And that was one of the most important lessons that I learned in martial arts. And it's like, you have a choice, victim, victor. And I'm going to be the victor, right? So fight away.
Get it, girl. Get it.
Good job.
Thank you for being an attacker.
Good job.
Okay, so thank you so much, Jen. And I just want to know your main takeaway of this is the ABCs of self-defense. So
Yes.
will you just explain one more time what those are?
Absolutely. So A starts for awareness. You want to make sure that you're paying attention at all times. You're not on your cell phone. You're not wearing headphones when you're walking to and from when you're outside. B stands for boundaries. You're aware of your body in space. And if you're going into an elevator or a stairwell, to make sure that that boundary either works for you or against you. So for example, if you're walking into an elevator with a creepy guy in there, the doors close, you've just let that boundary work against you. If you get into your car late at night, lock it if someone was following you and you're in there safely, then you just let that boundary work for you.
Okay.
C stands for communications. We communicate mostly with our bodies. So really fake it till you make it, stand up straight, look people in the eye. And we also communicate obviously with our voice. So scream, yell, curse, whatever you have to do. The words that you're saying really mean the least out of all the other different ways that we communicate. And there you have it.
Thank you, Jen, so much. I love you. If you guys want to see more of Jen's stuff, you can go to jennifercaseta.com. You can see great videos. She's got an awesome blog, and you can see what college she's going to be teaching at next.
Yeah.
And you can check out more info on her book, Hear Me Roar. So hopefully you guys can check the description. And I love you so much, Jen. And thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you feel empowered and strong and ready. Okay, we'll see you guys next time. Bye.
Bye, everybody.